Hello and welcome back to World 360. Last week, Denmark's immigration minister said he hopes to make it easier to deport foreign citizens who commit serious crimes in Denmark. He said he wanted to do away with the current stepladder model under which if an offender has lived in Denmark for longer than 5 or 9 years, only more serious crimes can trigger deportation. Now, these remarks appear to be part of Denmark's attempts to tighten immigration policies since 2018. More so, it appears to be part of a larger wave of anti-immigration policies and rhetoric in Europe. Let's understand what this wave is. As we know, the UK is working with Rwanda as part of a controversial asylum centre plan. Now, Denmark has also started working with Rwanda along the same lines. Taking after Denmark's anti-ghetto law, Sweden is also drawing up a similar plan to limit the concentration of immigrants in disadvantaged neighborhoods. And finally, Italy, where racially driven hate crimes are on the rise and far-right politicians have become increasingly discriminatory against immigrants in the hope to shore up votes. Now let's start with Denmark. For this, we have to rewind to March 2018, when Denmark's previous conservative government passed an anti-ghetto law that sought to break up all ghettos by 2030. Interestingly, this law was the brainchild of Denmark's previous right-wing government, but is now being implemented by the left-leaning Social Democrat government, presumably to attract voters. Essentially, the anti-ghetto law seeks to restrict access to social housing for non-Westerners, which are essentially people from outside the EU, the US, Canada, Australia, or New Zealand. This means that even people born in Denmark or those that are naturalized citizens will be subject to restrictions on housing if they have even one non-Western parent. The law aims to ensure that the share of these non-Westerners is capped at 50% in certain neighborhoods. But when the Ukraine war broke out, the Danish government did something that made it seem like the law was in fact racially driven. Earlier in May, Denmark sought to tweak the anti-ghetto law to accommodate Ukrainian refugees. Like the UK, Denmark has also opened up an office in Rwanda to set up an asylum centre outside of the European Union in order to reduce the number of people seeking refuge. But this has met with very harsh criticism from the EU, other European countries, national and international NGOs, the Danish Church, the African Union, and refugees themselves. Now let's move on to what's happening in Sweden. Taking after Denmark, Sweden is also mulling over an anti-ghetto style law. Last month, Swedish Prime Minister Magdalena Andersson called for an end to ethnic clusters by saying, "We do not want to have Chinatowns in Sweden, we do not want to have Somali towns or Little Italys." This was after her immigration minister proposed limiting the concentration of people with immigrant backgrounds in troubled areas. The Swedish PM, however, assured that such a law would not have to mean forcibly moving people as happened in Denmark. Finally, let's look at what's happening in Italy. With a snap election around the corner, some of Italy's far-right politicians are increasingly using anti-immigration rhetoric, some of which in arguably poor taste. 4 days ago, a politician with Italy's far-right league sparked outrage after filming a video of himself walking up to a Roma woman and saying that his party would rid the streets of people like her. Let's not forget how in July, the death of a Nigerian street vendor, Alika Ogorechukwu, in an alleged hate crime in Italy, sparked a national discussion about racism in the country. Now, some have argued that this recent rhetoric against refugees and migrants in Europe are the result of electioneering. Let's not forget that Sweden will hold general polls on 11th September, Italy will hold a snap election on 25th September, and Denmark heads to general elections next June. But nonetheless, if certain policies are implemented, it could see the breaking up of families and the deportation of people purely on the basis of the color of their skin. As Hetty O'Brien, assistant opinion editor at The Guardian, once wrote, the root of such policies, such as Denmark's anti-ghetto law, border on a collective paranoia that areas home to large numbers of minority and Muslim citizens risk splintering a national culture. Thank you so much for watching. This is Pia Krishnankutty for The Print. Do subscribe to The Print and follow us on social media.